Welcome everybody, it's Gull Khan here, your money mindset expert, and I help entrepreneurs to break free from the limiting beliefs, to reverse their money shame, and to blast through the money blocks using my unique energy tools so that they can live a life of limited abundance. And today I have the pleasure and the honor of speaking to Leslie Roger. Welcome. Hi Leslie, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm super happy. I'm super happy to be talking to you. So Leslie, tell us who you are, what do you do, and why do I love you so much?
Well, let's see. It sort of was who I was. I've been working at building different network marketing businesses for years as a way for me to be able to stay home and help raise my kids because my husband traveled. He still is a consultant. Well, actually, he works for them now, but he was a consultant, so he traveled during the week. So I was always trying to find these jobs that would work, and I, left my job when we moved from Seattle, and so I was beating my head against the wall, as so many do in that industry, I think, or maybe it's just me. And I was introduced to you by Shannon Garrison-McGee, and just did your free 5-day thing. And previous to meeting Shannon and to meeting you, I had the pleasure of working with this woman, Andrea De Leon, and she had said I had a issue with a ceiling, an income ceiling. Like Leslie could only make a certain amount of money, which is why I graduated from college and I got a degree in the travel industry, which is one of the lowest paid industries out there. I mean, it was fun. I worked for a cruise line, but there was never really the potential to make the kind of money that I could have if I'd started. Anyway, so that was something that I kind of always knew, but it had never been peeled away quite that way. So I was working with Shannon, and she introduced me to your mastermind 5-day thing. And I found that to be really, and that was really interesting because it was the way that you work takes things to a different level, because it's not just Leslie has a bad ceiling, say your affirmations, make your vision board, if you don't get to the root of like why the ceiling's there and those backstories. So I knew there was more. And when I did your free 5-day program, I was like, okay, this makes sense, because I can't continue working the way I'm working because it's not going to work. It hasn't worked so far. And I know I'm capable of more, but I don't know how to get there. And I had done some other, this is a process I've been in for a long time, and I think my husband's been ready to kill me. Like, how much money does it take to fix Leslie? But anyhow, so I did the 5-day program with you, and then we did our one-on-one call. And at that point, I know you don't just take anybody. You have to really be in the right mindset. And I'd committed to doing a lot of things in the last year. I completely stopped drinking alcohol, which was a big deal and a bit of a problem. And actually, today's my 1 year. Yeah, so I was determined to make some changes. I've been doing yoga very regularly since then. A lot of different things, but the piece that was missing was the piece that you delivered, which was, how do we get there? Yeah. And so that led to the energy clearings. And I didn't know there were so many components. What was your father's issue? What was your mother's? Where's your debt? Where's your income? Yeah. I mean, I'm not even through them all, but every time that I do one of the modules, I am blown away that, oh, wow. And then I love that, there's, the story you tell yourself, because, like you've said, I've heard from other people, your mind believes whatever you tell it.
Yes.
So that's, anyway, blah, blah. It took a long time there, but that's how I came to meet you and end up working with you.
Brilliant. So you've answered a couple of questions in there, because the next thing was, what was your life like before the mastermind? So you explained that already. So now let's talk about the mastermind itself. And you hit the nail on the head. We do address the root cause of the issue. So I don't talk about income ceiling. I address why you've got that in the first place.
Right.
That's through your subconscious programming, which is done between the ages of 0 to 7 for the majority of the people. And I think 80% of subconscious, but 80 to 90% of your subconscious programming is done between 0 to 7 anyway. And that's across the board for every single person. So now let's talk about, what did you think? So that's, there's enough people out there talking about subconscious programming and limited, right, whatever else. What makes my mastermind unique is the energy clearings and the manifestation.
Right.
So energy clearings, most people ask, well, what is that? And, how does that help? And, it's very woo for most people. How did you find my energy clearings?
Well, I found them time consuming, which is something people need to realize. This isn't like a boom, you're fixed. This is a commitment to yourself, to you, to the program. And so, you know, I have to block out, like, I need to have 2 hours, you know, like, this is my mind working right now is, okay, on Saturday or Sunday, what am I going to do to block my time so that I can do the work prior to the clearing, do the clearing, maybe be in a position to, burn my thing with my stove. And, you know, the story that I'd written before that isn't true. And then how am I going to relax and support myself after that? Because it's intense.
It's intense.
It's very intense.
Yeah.
And so that was something that I didn't realize. But it's been a commitment I've happily done, which, you know, I feel like, not like it's a job, but I've made a commitment to do this. So therefore make the time, because if you don't make the time, you don't do the work, you can't expect things to change.
Yeah, exactly. So the energy clearings are intense, but then that's why we get such rapid energy shifts. And that explains why everybody, you know, starts manifesting these amazing, crazy things, which sometimes they sound so amazing, they sound unbelievable. And you're like, yes, they are true, because these things have happened. Sometimes things shift faster for other people, but it doesn't mean they're not shifting. They are shifting for you. It just takes that much longer because you have something else to work through. I remember the first 3 to 6 months is foundational work. That's why the mastermind is 12 months, not just 3 or 6 month program. I can easily just sell it for the same price and keep it as 3 to 6 months. But I know that'll be a disservice to my clients, because you need the extra support, because the first 3 to 6 months is the foundational work, which is awesome. Now, again, manifestation calls are unique to me. I don't know anybody else. That's the concept that I've come up with and I've made. What has been your experience with these manifestation calls?
They're very intense. You know, I mean, physically things change sometimes depending on the subject matter. Parts of your body hurt, feel dizzy, feel emotionally exhausted. But then the support and the reinforcement on when you do the clearing and then you do the good stuff, that's been very interesting, because it's very freeing. It sort of brightens like what things look like in the future. I feel like it actually changes your mind and who you are. Does that make sense? Yeah. You know, it's like there's a shift that happens that moves me from being this person to this person, and it's good.
That's called the energetic shift. That's what happens. Yes, absolutely, because we're connected to the quantum field, and when you come back, you've shifted that much more in your mind, in your thinking, in your energy, and therefore your body has to follow and shift as well. And that's what you experience. And some of the physical discomforts are because of that as well. Now, what would you say? What sort of results have you got? Because you only joined a couple of months ago. What sort of results have you got from doing the mastermind so far?
Well, I had sort of a different situation than some people. I think that I've been trying to do my work from home and control my life, you know, and it wasn't working very well. And so you said, I rarely do this, but you probably should get a job, you know, because the other stuff wasn't working. And, you know, for a long time I'd fought that idea, but I also had to face the reality that I don't really do well in a non-structured environment. If I'm left to my own devices, I spend a lot of time doing nothing. And I don't do
I don't often tell people to get a job.
Well, I mean, but, and so my manifestation as far as money was not that huge, but it was what I needed. And so I worked on it, and it was hard at first because I'm, you know, like, I think that part of what I always heard is like, you're shooting for the moon, you're wanting 10,000, 20,000 a month, 100,000 a month. But there's that part of your brain that goes, this isn't realistic. Like, how would you get from here to there? And so mine was smaller, but it's crazy because I ended up getting this job that is completely wacky. Like, I don't know where it came from. It's very weird. You know, the guys owned the company for 38 years, and it's in skincare, which has always been sort of my jam. I love, and so I'm brokering skincare between vendors, and it's very weird, and it's making the amount of money that I wanted, and now I've been able to raise that ceiling because of the commission piece. Yeah. And is it a forever thing? Probably not, because he's not exactly young, but it's given me the confidence. Like, I'm now working in an environment that's, you know, there's a team, there's a warehouse crew, I'm making calls, I'm dealing with higher ups, at the Nordstrom Rack or Burlington with buyers. And like, it feels comfortable. It feels normal. It feels like, okay, this is what I should be doing. And I'm doing a good job of it. I mean, I have my, it's a learning curve, so it's not always perfect. But if I had been told 6 months ago I was going to do this, I would have been like, oh yeah, right. I'm not going to get a job like that. Nobody's going to hire me. I'm too old. My resume is too outdated. I don't have the skills, and instead it's happened. And
in grace.
Yes, with ease and grace. So that's, yeah, exactly. I'm earning X amount of income in, my business with ease and grace. And then I'm like, oh, I can raise that because, he wants me to get bigger accounts and I'm working, so yeah, it's very cool. And I wouldn't have thought that it could happen. And I was pretty depressed.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you actually for following through. So one of the things that I say is I can only direct you and help you, then
Right.
You have to take the action. So congratulations, Leslie, for actually listening to the advice I gave and acting upon it and going out. But again, I want to point this out. You didn't have to go out searching for this job. This job came to you. So the universe gave to you, but even though you were resistant to having a job, the universe gave to you your ideal job, which allows you to increase your income. It doesn't have a ceiling for the amount of money you can earn. As you get larger accounts, you can get larger commissions. So it allows you to be in your zone of genius and work around skincare, which is something you love. Be in a structured environment, which was lacking by staying at home, and making money. So you met your target by making that much money. And all of this happened over the last 2 months with ease and grace. Isn't that
right? Couldn't get much better.
Yeah. So the universe provides for you and gives you the solution. You may not want that solution, but it knows best and knows the best solution for you. So I think this is why I love how the universe works. It pushes in a direction which it knows is best for us. So that's awesome. I think that's a brilliant one. So fabulous. Congratulations, my love.
Thank you.
So now let's talk about the community and the mastermind. So I'm a big believer, and this is the reason why when I speak to people on the phone, I'm very selective of who I allow into the group collective, because the group collective is very high vibration and really powerful women. What was your experience of working in that group collective?
I feel like it's very supportive, and like we're all working towards our own goals that are similar but different, and we are all open to what we're doing, because you can go and talk to somebody on the street about what we're doing and the reception might not be that positive. They think you're a whack, you're whatever. But within that group, I love that people can be vulnerable. People can share stories. I mean, like a week ago, I was doing my drawing the energy, and somehow I ended up with Amazing Grace playing and just sitting there with tears screaming down my face. And so I put something in our group, and like the people that came forward, like, oh, what a beautiful thing. It was just nice to be able to just share that. And it wasn't like I needed a response. I just knew that those were the people that I could say, you wouldn't believe what happened.
Yeah.
And that they would understand.
Yeah.
And then we also have, when people are having a hard time, there's a lot of, you just put it out there that things aren't going the way you want. Because, this is life. Things don't always go with ease and grace. I mean, they will if you wait, but there's times when you hit walls. And we've had, you and I've talked about that. Like, we've had some funky, like, our neighbor drove into my kid's Honda Civic, like wrecked it. It's totaled. Once again, it's the me and the car thing. We had to buy a new car. Did I want to buy a new car? No. Was the car they were driving safe? I was worried about it because it had been rear-ended before and it was cleared. But so I had been worried that it shouldn't necessarily be on the road, like on the freeway. And well, she took care of it. She wrecked it. And now we have a new Honda Civic. So that wasn't a plan. But the other thing is that when those things come up, it's not that big a deal. It's a bummer. We'll figure out how it works, but it's not like it threw me under the bus. I decided to self-sabotage. There's some tension because it's like, these aren't kids. They're 18 and 22. So, you're like, really? But at the same time, really, we get to be here to help them. So there've been bumps where you're like, seriously? But the group, it's just nice to have a group of people that are going through the same work and understand what we're doing, that can say, take a breather or don't take a breather. This is when you need to just keep on doing what you're doing. And that's usually the response, because our human nature is, oh, I'm uncomfortable. Things aren't working. I'm going to go hide out and stop doing the work. And I'm like, well, that's probably not a good idea. And then people have actual experiences to tell you why you shouldn't, because this is what happened to them.
Yeah.
You know, and so I love that it's, and it's small. And I hope that it always stays to where, you know, and of course, within that, you may have people within that community that aren't doing the work and aren't showing up.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter, because you're there with people that are.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the thing with the mastermind is it's relatively small at the moment, and most people are. If somebody isn't, I sort of go and nag them, like, why haven't he?
Yeah.
You? What's up? And I do sort of follow them around a little bit. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The community, the collective community is very supportive. And I think this is what's essential and one of the backbones of the mastermind, because it really is the mastermind. We are all there in together, and the mastermind group collective energy really comes into play when you do the manifestation calls, because that's when the group collective energy, even those people who are or who are not on the call, we use all of their energies together to do our manifestations. And that's why these manifestation calls are so powerful. It really is. It helps us. And the reason why you feel supported by everybody else is because every time we get into these manifestation calls, your energy intermingles with everybody else's energy, and therefore a little part of their energy sort of remains with you. And that when that happens, it's like when you hug someone.
Right.
When you hug someone, a bit of energy remains with you. That's where you feel connected to that individual, and that's why we are very close knit, and everybody is there to support each other, and everyone's there. Don't worry, you've got your back, kind of a thing, which is amazing. Right. Absolutely love that about you guys, and that's the kind of thing community that I wanted to build. Now, if you were recommending the mastermind to someone, Leslie, what would you say to them? So, because the mastermind requires a 12-month commitment, and like you said, you have to block out time to do the clearings. The sessions are about 45 minutes to an hour. The clearings are around about 45 minutes to an hour, and the clearings I do ask you to repeat a few times. So it does require time commitment as well as financial commitment. It's not a small financial commitment. For some people, it's quite a large financial commitment. What would you say to somebody who's on the fence, like, this sounds really fabulous, but I'm not sure it's for me? What would you say to them?
I would tell them, if things aren't going the way that they've been wanting them to go, and they're willing to work really hard to make changes, that it's for them, but that they need to just sit with themselves quietly and figure out if you look down a year, are you going to be exactly where you are? And what other things have you done that have made changes, or have they not? Because I think a lot of people, I know I'm not the only person that was spending a lot of money fixing Leslie, on different this and different that. So, I mean, it's not to be taken lightly. It's a big commitment. And so I would just be like, are you honestly ready to sit down and make this commitment? And are you willing to take full responsibility for it? Because you can bitch and moan about if things aren't working, but if you're not showing up, then you can only blame yourself. So, and you are, I mean, I remember like it was right after I joined, and you had a firm talk with us, and it was like, and it was direct, but everybody's at Shannon's like, was that you? And I'm like, no, it wasn't me, Shannon. No. but it's still.
It was. I mean, I am as funny, as quirky as I am. I'm quite a strict coach.
Right. And so it's very clear, so it's like, you can't just, if you make a commitment to do this, you've made a commitment to yourself, and you've made a commitment to the group, and you've made a commitment to you, Gull. And so you can't just decide to flake out, or, I mean, it's a serious, if somebody was looking at doing it, it'd be not really over the phone, oh yeah, you should do it. It'd be more like, you want to grab coffee and I'll tell you what we've done, because this is what it is. And if you want to do it, then absolutely.
Yeah.
But it is a big commitment, like you said, time, money, and the money piece changes as you manifest and things in your life change.
It gets easier to, as more money comes in, it's easier to commit. But I also find that once you've made a commitment, and it's a solid commitment, not one that you're like, maybe, when you've made like, I'm doing this no matter what, the universe provides for you. I mean, I've seen that time and time again. People have come to me and said, Gull, I'm not sure I can do this, or that's a large commitment. Even on the monthly plan, that's a quite large commitment. And then they've made it, and then they've stuck to it. As long as it's in the work, there have been a couple of people who've actually said, well, they've come up with excuses, and I've just let them go. It's easier for me to just let them go. But there are, I think 95% of the people, including those ones who've said, oh, I'm not sure I can make it, have actually stuck to it and have made it, because you know what, they did whatever it takes, and the universe saw it, and the universe brought opportunities to them with ease and grace. By the way, we're not into hustling, we're not into stressing out.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Hustle. And then, like, I love, since I now have my commute, like the last couple of days, I'll listen to one of your things that we've got on the mastermind group in the car. So, you know, I mean, I try to make use of the time, podcasts or books, but then I was like, oh, there was one where you were talking about conscious, subconscious, and superconscious.
Yeah. That's in one of the trainings I've done in the magnanimous group. Yeah.
Right. And then I got to work, and things the day before had not gone well, and I was really doubting my ability, and I was feeling, you know, it was just like I messed up on some stuff, and I got there, and the rest of the day it was just like boom, everything, like from the minute I left the car, everything was fine.
Because the energy.
Well, and that's the other thing that I've noticed is I used to be very bad about very negative self-talk and beating myself up and saying horrible things about myself. And I haven't done that in a long time.
Wow. Okay, that is a major win. Major win. Because one of the biggest things that holds us ourselves back is the negative chitter chatter in our head, which is the subconscious mind talking negatively to us about ourselves. And
right.
If you've moved past that point, wow, okay, what an achievement. Congratulations. Well done. I want to clap you for that. Awesome. Fabulous. Okay, Leslie, so thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. Is there anything last parting words you would like to tell people about the mastermind or your experience or anything else?
Just that I've tried and done a lot of different things, and nothing has been like this. Gull's got a gift of being able to channel energy, clear energy, and she talks really fast. So if that bothers you, then it's probably not for you, because she's not going to change. But it's like nothing I've ever done before. So if you're really serious and you want to make a commitment to changing things, my experience has been that, you know, like I said, I now have a job where I'm making good money and doing something really fun. And I wouldn't have imagined it 6 months ago. So, you know, I haven't been working with you for 6 months, but that's just, you know, a good timeline.
We've only been working together 2 months. I think within the first month you managed to get this job. So was it back in December you got it?
Yeah, it was December, because I started January 6th.
Yeah. So within a month after, because we started in November, within a month you've got the job, and then in January you started. So yeah, fabulous. That's how quickly things can shift and change and work around for you.
And it's just, it's just consistently doing the work. Like if we have a thing where you do your manifestations at night and you do them in the morning and you set a timer, you better do them, because if you don't do them, it's not going to work.
Yeah, if you don't do the work, I can't do the work for you. It's
right.
And I think I'm very clear about it. And that's where I become a very strict and stringent coach. And I always say, I'm your coach first. I'm your friend second. Of course, I'm your friend. I'm going to love you. But as a coach, I have to be strict and, you know, want what's best for you. And this is why I am the way I am. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience, Leslie. Leslie, where can we find you? Can you please give us your social media handles so we can know where you are?
I'm really just on Facebook.
All right, so if you want to connect with Leslie, please go ahead and do so. She's Leslie Rogers Peckham. Until the next time, thank you so much for watching us. Until the next time, I bring another person from the mastermind sharing their experience about my energy clearings and the manifestation tool. I'll see you then. Take care and bye for now.
Bye-bye.